United Nations members have reached an agreement on how countries should tackle climate change. Delegates have approved a framework for setting national pledges to be submitted to a summit next year. Differences over the draft text caused the two-week talks in Lima, Peru, to overrun by 2 days. Environmental groups said the deal was an ineffectual compromise, but the EU said it was a step towards achieving a global climate deal next year in Paris. The talks proved difficult because of divisions between rich and poor countries over how to spread the burden of pledges to cut carbon emissions. Not perfect. The agreement was adopted hours after a previous draft was rejected by developing countries, who accused rich nations of shirking their responsibilities to fight global warming and pay for its impacts. Peru's Environment Minister, Manuel Vidal, who chaired the summit, told reporters, "As a text it's not perfect, but it includes the positions of the parties." Miguel Arias Cañete, EU Commissioner for Climate Action and Energy, said the EU had wanted a more ambitious outcome, but he still believed that we are on track to agree a global deal at a summit in Paris, France, next year. UK Climate Change Minister Ed Davey said, "I am not going to say it will be a walk in the park in Paris." He described the deal as a really important step on the road to Paris. "That's when the real deal has to be done." The final draft is said to have alleviated those concerns by saying countries have common but differentiated responsibilities. "We've got what we wanted," Indian Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar told reporters, saying the document preserved the notion that richer nations had to lead the way in making cuts in emissions. It also restored a promise to poorer countries that a loss and damage scheme would be established to help them cope with the financial implications of rising temperatures. However, it weakened language on national pledges, saying countries may instead of shall include quantifiable information showing how they intend to meet their emissions targets. The agreed document calls for an ambitious agreement in 2015 that reflects differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities of each nation. Developed countries to provide financial support to vulnerable developing nations. National pledges to be submitted by the first quarter of 2015 by those states ready to do so. Countries to set targets that go beyond their current undertaking. The UN climate change body to report back on the national pledges in November 2015. Environmental groups were scathing in their response to the document, saying the proposals were nowhere near drastic enough. Sam Smith, chief of climate policy for the environmental group WWF, said, "The text went from weak to weaker to weakest, and it's very weak indeed." Jagoda Munich, chairperson of Friends of the Earth International, said fears the talks would fail to deliver a fair and ambitious outcome had been proven tragically accurate.